So for the second straight year, Danny Green did not get to finish his season the way he wanted to, falling to yet another season-ending injury. Obviously, this time around, it was much worse, and now the question shifts to whether he will be back playing or not. Today, we get an answer to that and discuss whether the Sixers should bring him back. We will break it all down, man. Let's go.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome on into Philly Take with RB. You know what to do. Hit that like button if you enjoy it. Be sure to subscribe for more content and ring that bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. We obviously have a lot to break down. It's going to be a wild off season, and today we are back talking about Danny Green, one of the key role players for this Sixers team. Obviously, if you did not know or somehow did not see, he ended his season once again this year in the second round by going down with a torn ACL and LCL. It's a really freak injury. Obviously, he's never been injured to that extent, so it really sucks seeing that for a guy like Danny Green, who's been around the multiple locker rooms, who has won and, you know, three-time champion, and he's pushing 35 years old. It's going to be tough for him to get back in the mix of things, but we will talk about whether he will, you know, be willing to do that or not. First and foremost, again, a lot of us talk about Danny Green. It's been an up and down kind of 2 years, but at the end of the day, come playoff time last year in the second half of the season, he really stepped it up. And this year, you know, he was going through getting benched and Matisse Thybulle trying to get run and, you know, just having to deal with a bunch of like minor tweak injuries. And I thought the way that Danny Green came out and played in the playoffs was fantastic. And it just goes to show, man, you need those type of role players, not only, you know, on the floor, but in the locker room as well, those kind of veteran leaders. And there's been times over the last 2 years where Danny Green has said something I don't agree with him. I just don't like it. But, I mean, I got to give him his credit. You know, he came out and he was playing ball, and it just sucks. Again, he was playing so well before he went down, and then losing him in game 6, and it kind of just sucked the energy out of the crowd, to be honest. I mean, he had a couple games where he, you know, puts up 3 points. That's what Danny Green does. But then he had a game where he put up 7 threes, and he was definitely an integral part, and we needed him to continue stepping up. The question is now looking forward, what do we do? Well, Danny Green's contract, if you are not aware, he had signed a 2-year, $20 million deal last year, and, you know, he has 1 more year left for $10 million. But if you remember back to last year during free agency, we actually thought Danny was leaving, and the reason for that is because he wanted more money. The way Daryl Morey structured the contract is, for the second year, it is non-guaranteed. So as you can see, this upcoming year's salary is non-guaranteed. And that, honestly, it kind of sucks for Danny, especially because he got hurt now, and it becomes fully guaranteed on 7/1. So the Sixers will have to make a decision by that time. And if you want my honest opinion, there's just no way that the Sixers are going to be able to bring him back for this. And the reason for that is, you know, before we get into what he had said on his podcast, Inside the Green Room, you know, it's going to be tough for him to come back this upcoming season. I mean, he just had a terrible injury, not only the ACL, but the LCL as well. It's going to take a lot of rehab. Obviously, he's older. I'm not saying he can't get back. I'm not saying he can't get back to form. What I'm saying is, even if he does get back this upcoming season, I mean, it's not going to be until maybe the playoff time. It's going to be late. And then when you think about where this team is at in terms of the cap, you know, that's $10 million. Sixers have to make a business decision at the end of the day. And I'm sure Danny understands that, a guy, you know, who's been around the league. But just thinking about where we're at right now, $10 million, you know, maybe what the Sixers could end up doing is, you know, opting out of the current contract and trying to bring him back for something else. But when you get to Danny Green's age, when you've won in different locker rooms, I know he wants to still play here and win here. But if somebody goes ahead and offers him something else, I mean, is he going to turn that down? I don't know. And that's where the tough thing comes into, because every team needs like a Danny Green type of role player. In fact, you know, we're going to be talking soon on a live stream. I know we were supposed to live stream this past week, but very soon we will be live streaming, and we're going to be talking about kind of the Sixers offseason plan. And really, the Sixers need to get these type of role players. They need to get 3-and-D guys who, you know, can surround Joel Embiid, can surround Tyrese Maxey. We need guys like that. Obviously, we don't have enough. That is a glaring issue with this team. And obviously, Danny's a bit slower as he's gotten older. But we need guys who can kind of do what he does, right? Perimeter defense and knock down threes at a 40% clip. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Maybe they can work something out. I know on the podcast, Danny said that he hadn't talked with the Sixers yet about it. But speaking on the retiring thing, because again he's getting up there, can his body withstand and take the process that he is about to go through to try to get back? Well, let's hear what he had to say on that.
Have you thought about how you want your career to end? And did this moment make you start thinking about it?
No, I thought of ending it on my own terms. So hopefully I'll be lucky enough to finish when I want to finish, not when teams are like, oh, we don't want you back anymore, we're kicking you out. And that might happen because people, I might play till the wheels fall off until they don't bring me back anymore. But I like to end on my own terms and not on a major injury. This didn't make me think about how I wanted it to end, but it made me think about, considering it and not letting it happen this way, and how I want to come back more so than anything. Like, I don't want it to end this way.
So as you heard right there, Danny Green pretty much said, I'm going to play till the wheels fall off. I'm going to do everything I can to get back, especially when you have played that many years like he has, and then you get a major injury like this. It kind of just hits you out of nowhere. And, he's sitting there thinking, reflecting, but I liked his answer. He said, it kind of made me realize, like, I don't want to go out like that. So he's going to work and try to get back. Everybody knows the Sixers have a business decision to make. It's nothing in terms of Danny Green. Of course, we would like his skill set back. And again, I've been someone to criticize him before. He has, bonehead plays sometimes. He's out of sorts, for stretches. But when he really heats up, he is definitely a player and a position of need for us. He's definitely that type of role player we need. And I hope we can kind of fill out our supporting cast. But let's be honest, man, there are also younger guys. In fact, another thing we're going to be talking about a lot to an extent this offseason is utilizing our young guys. I mean, if you're watching the playoffs right now, you're seeing these different teams, go with guys they drafted a couple years ago, and look how they are producing and adding on additional support to the stars on these teams. Even a guy like Isiah Joe. Honestly, if I'm being real, if Isiah Joe played on the Miami Heat or Boston Celtics right now, he'd probably be averaging 15, 20 minutes a game. I'm just saying, not every player is going to be like that, but you have to give these guys chances. And I do think there will be some guys out there that the Sixers can target. Joel Embiid, once again, has said he wants a PJ Tucker type of player on his team. We've been screaming it for a while. Hopefully we can find somebody to kind of take over. Will Matisse Thybulle develop? That's a whole other thing. But the Sixers will need to fill out their roster with role players. And right now we sit $4.4 million above the luxury tax. We're going to try to get under that. We're going to try to maneuver some pieces. Really, nobody is safe right now. And, you got to create as much cap space as possible. I think if deals are out there, Daryl Morey will strike. And we need those type of role players around. Look, I'm going to be honest. I actually hope Danny Green is back. I'm not saying the guy can play 25 minutes a night. I'm not saying that he's going to be a superstar role player. What I'm saying is I do enjoy parts of his leadership. I do enjoy having guys like that. And that was something he also talked about, again, on his podcast, Inside the Green Room. I listened to the whole episode. It was actually pretty good. And he talked about, we grew up during the season, but there's still a ways to go. We need more guys like myself. He's talking about Danny Green, the guy that's been around for 10, 12, 14 years. Like, you need guys who have been around locker rooms, who have been around greats, and who have won in this league to kind of, kick it into gear in the playoffs. And with the whole thing about mental toughness, I mean, that's kind of an indictment on this team, having a lack of mental toughness in the playoffs in round 2 and game 6 when it's a must-win game. And, we all know at this point the Sixers are going to have to improve in that area. And hopefully if it's not Danny Green, we can kind of get these guys, to kind of fill out the roles on this team, because we definitely will need it. This is probably the most crucial offseason for this team. Not only do you have to clean up the mess, from these past couple years, but you really have to push this time now. Like, to me, this is the window, and you got to make something happen. So I don't think, my personal opinion, that Danny Green will be back for $10 million. I do think, especially since it's a non-guaranteed, and Daryl, his reason for putting that in the contract was to have more security on our side. It sucks that it resulted in an injury this way, but we'll see. Maybe Danny will be back for something else. Maybe he'll agree to a lower deal for a couple years. I don't know, but at the end of the day, the Sixers have some decisions to make. This one seems to be pretty easy to me, but I want to hear from you. You give me your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think the Sixers will do with Danny Green? Once again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.